Hi everyone, it is me, Gabrielle Coveton here, and today we're going to talk about a throwback that happened around this time many years ago. So, Gabrielle said, for some folks that don't know what happened many years ago, and it mostly has to do with polls. Now, there are many kinds of polls, but some of them take a lot of work. Now, the less work polls would be one of those, polls where you just fill up the water and that's it. You don't have to put it up, you don't have to blow it up. Now, the only downside with these polls is that they're not really that deep. And two, you could only work them for 1 year, so by the end of the year, you got to end up throwing them out. So we got one of those polls 1 year, and our mother was like, well, I can't afford to get one of those big polls, you know, I can't afford to buy it and have someone put it in for me, and I can't afford to buy it and to put it in ourselves. So what we got with one of those small poles. Well, the ones where they're in a box, right? And you take it out of the box and you unfold it and then you put water in it. Now, these poles are small. They're not really meant for grown-ups. They're more meant for, I would say, walkers or at least kids. So anyway, we get this pole, and at the time, it was Ernest was with me, Joxer was with me, Anne Maurice and Hope were with me. Eve, I believe, was with me. This may have been Solon. I think he was still alive around this time. I don't know. So anyway, but this was before Xenos and Osmond. Well, this may have been almost around the time that we had Xenos and Osmond, alright? So, we get the pole, we put it together, and then my mother goes, this pole is too bloody small. It looked bigger on the box. Yeah, I said, everything looks bigger on the box until you buy it and put it together. I told you we should have gotten one of those other poles. And she's like, I can't afford to get one of those poles where you gotta put it together and it's a whole day work just to make the yard ready. Then you gotta put the pole together. Then you gotta fill it up with water. Now it's not like now we could afford one of those poles, but back then we could not. I don't know. So she gets mad and she leaves. We all think it's good. So Ernest and Joxer say, I think everything's good. Ernest is like, well, so Ernest and Joxer get in their head. Well, Eve and Anne Maurice and Hope do too, and Eve. And we're like, alright, so Xenos and Osmond were young at the time. We're like, well, Mother doesn't want to do nothing, she's gone. Huston's not around, but he'll be around later. So, to make a long saga short, my mother comes back after we filled up and we're in it. And she's like, I got one of those other poles that's going to take us longer to put together. She's like, what the fuck? She got mad that while she went to buy one of those poles that was worth a lot more and a lot more work to put together, she either went to big lots or she went to Walmart. I don't know. Or I don't know. So, and she got mad and breaks up the small one, gets us out and says, if I told you not to put water in this, and then she just throws it around and cuts it up. She's like, I told you to get out of it, she's like. And while we spent the rest of the day, after the other pole was besmirched, getting it out of the box, setting it up, getting the yard ready, and putting it together. And it was one of those blown up poles, which only seems to work good for 1 year. Then it doesn't really hold any wind the next year. If you hear about that pole saga that we talked about, that was in the past. So yeah, and she cuts up the other pole. We like, no, we could send it back. She's like, we already took it out of the box. She's like, they're not going to want us to have it back. We took it out of the box, she said, and cuts it all up. I think it was either with her sword or with her flying ring. I don't know which. And we spent time putting the other pole together. And it leaked, because we didn't have the whatever end tight enough. So you know how fun that went. So anyway, that was our end. She got angry and's like, oh, this thing's going to make us worth a lot more water. And you know how that went. If you want to hear about, so that's about the time how she put some, and she ended up getting angry about that pole. So anyway, that's all the time that I have for you today. If you want to hear more sagas and tales about my past growing up with my mother, XENA, let me know. Watch the other films we made over here at XENA Melinda Pappas. Follow us over here if you want to. We know one fellow who will. Gabrielle Covetton, and I'll see you later. Bye.